What's going on, guys? MMuniz here. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to discuss a zero risk, basically, high yield investment being offered in May 2022. We're going to discuss I-bonds, all of their pros, the cons, the tax scenarios, who should purchase I-bonds, and lastly, I'm going to do a step-by-step guide on how to purchase your I-bonds. As just today, I made my first purchase of $1,000 as well. Now, before we start the video, quick little disclosure. I am not a financial advisor, and this video is not financial advice. This is just an opportunity for you to hear my thoughts and my opinions, and then you're going to make your own decisions on what's going to be best for your family. Now, with that out of the way, first things first, what is an I-bond? I-bonds are a type of savings bond that the U.S. Treasury offers its citizens that earns interest based on combining two different types of rates. You have your fixed interest rate, which is set when you purchase the bond, and then you have a variable interest rate, which is based off inflation, and that changes semi-annually twice a year. This rate changes in May and November. These bonds are designed to protect your money from inflation, which is currently running rampant in America. The current composite rate offered, which is the combined rate, is actually 9.62%. Holy guacamoles, that's crazy. For a zero-risk investment, that's pretty dang good. Technically, it's subjective. The government could stop paying its savings bonds, but come on, a Lannister always pays his debts.
Lannister always pays his debts.
I mean the U.S. government, sometimes. So how does the return work? Well, the first 6 months are going to be paid at that current composite rate, and then the rate will be adjusted to the new composite rate for the following 6 months. You can look at the Treasury rate to see when your return will be changed. For instance, if you purchase your bond in April, your new rate is going to take effect in October, and it's going to be the rate that was actually set back in May. So even if you don't buy these I-bonds in May of 2022, you have all the way up until October to still earn that 9.62% interest for the first 6 months. And then after that, it's going to be based off inflation again. It's probably going to go down a little bit because I doubt we're going to be as high as where we are now, but I think it's still going to be pretty competitive when you compare it to some other options. Quick note, so the interest is accumulated monthly, but it's compounded semi-annually. So after the first 6 months, any interest you made, not only are you going to be getting interest on the principal value, but you're also going to be earning interest on the previous interest you've made. So it's going to continue to compound and grow, which is the snowball effect. That's what we want in investing. So now that we have an understanding of what I-bonds are, what are the benefits? What are the pros? So the first benefit is going to be extremely high returns in 2022. At 9.62% annualized, that is almost the same return as some of the covered call ETFs that I talk about a lot on this channel, like Q Yield, without any principal decay. The second benefit is there's no risk to the principal value of the bond. Even if we experience deflation or stagflation, they are never going to give you a negative rate of return. The third benefit is going to be the tax benefits. Now, I'll go more in depth into these later on, but just a quick rundown, you can defer your tax. There's no state tax. So for me in New York, this is beautiful. And the taxes are also exempt on education reimbursements, similar to a 529. But once again, I'm going to have to discuss that a bit later. An I-bond right now essentially destroys any high yield savings account or CD that would offer the same amount of safety, but definitely not the same returns. But is it too good to be true? Well, let's talk about the cons. You cannot purchase more than $15,000 of I-bonds in a single year. Technically, $10,000 can be purchased electronically via the Treasury Direct website, which I'm going to show you later. $5,000 can be purchased paper bonds, but those can only be purchased when you're filing your actual tax return. So, a lot of us have already filed our taxes, so we've missed this. Now, there is a type of loophole around this, and that's you are able to gift I-bonds. So, for instance, if you have a spouse or dependent, you can gift them up to $10,000 as well, and it won't count against your total of $10,000 for yourself. So, for my wife and I could buy $10,000, and then I could buy $10,000 for her, and then, we're one combined entity anyways. We have $20,000. So if you have a family of 4, technically you could purchase $40,000 in I-bonds and be seeing some significant returns. If you are super wealthy, then this is going to be a con to you, but for someone like me, I'm just an average Joe, it's not really that big of a deal. Now the next con is you cannot buy from your brokerage. Now this isn't a huge con, but it's annoying to use the Treasury Direct website. I personally thought it's kind of clumsy. It looks like it hasn't been updated in a while. And also, when you look at an app like Robinhood, it's bright colors and exciting and fun. Treasury Direct is the exact opposite. So not a huge con, but it's just not exciting. Now, the third con, and this is going to be a big one, is your I-bonds need to be held for 1 year minimum. So if you put your money into an I-bond, you cannot access that cash for 1 year. You cannot pull it out. The other thing is if you hold it from 1 year to 5 years, you can pull your money out and get your interest, but you're going to be penalized with a 3-month interest penalty. So in order for you to get that full 12 months return, you actually have to pull out your money 15 months in because you're going to lose 3 months of interest. So once again, you cannot withdraw your money before 1 year, and then from 1 year to 5 year, you face a penalty of 3 months interest when you withdraw your money. Anything after that, you're good. There's no penalty. Now, another con is actually the education reimbursement that I brought up, and this is just that it has some rules. For instance, if you're like me and you file your taxes married filing separately, you cannot take advantage of this. Another one is if you make more than $98,000 as an individual or $154,000 as a married couple, you can't take advantage of this either. Now, to be fair, that may be higher than most people or maybe it's average, but depending on where you live, that's really not that high of an amount, so not everyone's going to be able to take advantage of that in the first place. So that's a downfall technically of I-bonds in terms of tax advantages. So now let's talk about the taxes. One thing you need to know is that even though they're state tax advantage in terms of the federal taxes, you're still going to pay the same amount. If you're ultra wealthy and you're in one of those higher tax brackets, the interest that you're making is going to be taxed at a pretty high amount. In terms of the state taxes, if you live in a state like Florida, which has no state income tax, then you're not actually gaining a benefit there. So just keep that in mind. California, New York, that's a huge benefit for us. But for someone in Florida, not so much. The good thing is when you compare it to something like a savings account or a CD, you can defer your taxes. So if you hold it for more than a year, 3 years for instance, you're not going to be paying taxes on the interest on a yearly basis. You're going to pay it at the very end when you actually go to cash out. If you're just using your ALI high yield savings account, anytime you get a distribution, at the end of the year you have to claim that and you're going to be paying those taxes. So that's pretty small, but just something to know. Now when it comes to the education reimbursement part, this is pretty tricky for the taxes. There's a lot of weird things about it. For instance, you have to be older than 24 when you purchase the bond in order to take advantage of the exemption status. It just seems a little silly. However, there is an interesting technique you can use if you are below those income limits that I mentioned earlier. And that is, let's just say you're a bit younger, maybe 25, 26, you just started your career, you're not making that much money yet. You can actually cash out your bonds, put that money in a 529 plan, and that's considered a qualified educational expense, so you won't actually have to pay taxes on that interest. So you do get the benefit there, and then you can use that money later on without those same income limits. So this usually pays off because typically as you get older and as you move up in your career, you're going to make more money, and then you're no longer going to be able to take advantage of that. Little way to move around money, but when it comes to taxes, it gets a little tricky. So now that we've talked about the pros, the cons, taxes, who should actually buy I-bonds? Because it's not everybody. I will tell you, without a doubt, the best person to buy an I-bond today is someone that's saving for a house. If you are saving for a house and you don't plan on buying for a minimum of 1 year, so if you're going to purchase a house before a year, this doesn't apply to you. Anyone beyond 1 year, the 1 to 2 year range, it's perfect. It's a great way to capitalize on a lot of interest that you wouldn't have been able to get. If you're saving money for a down payment, more than likely you're not keeping that money in the market. You may if you're well established and everything, but typically, the average person, the average couple is saving their money in a savings account on a monthly basis, trying to build it up for their down payment. So instead of keeping your money in the savings account, move it into an I-bond for a year, knowing that you cannot buy a house within a year, and then collect that interest. When it comes time for you to buy your house, you're going to have a lot more money than if you had just kept it in the normal savings account. Huge benefit to someone like that. Another person is someone like me, where you keep multiple savings accounts for specific things. Like I have a vacation savings account, I have a car savings account, a house savings account, all these different savings accounts. If I know for a fact that I'm not going to use that money, for instance, my vacation money, my wife and I just got back from vacation 2 weeks ago, and we're not taking a vacation until September, except that one's already paid off. So the next vacation after that is going to be sometime next year. So I took $1,000 of my dollars, and that money I know I'm not going to need for over a year. Why keep it in a savings account? It's in I-bonds now. I'm going to pull it out and I'll have a free $100 or something close to it. So the people that I don't recommend do this, and a strategy that I don't recommend you do, is pull money out of the market to put it into I-bonds. Even though yes, you could pull out and get guaranteed returns, this is going to break the rule of investing, which is time in the market always beats timing the market. You don't want to predict the bottom. Ideally, if you continue to follow your normal strategy, which is dollar cost average into whatever stocks or investments, keep doing that because you never know. Maybe tomorrow we go up 20%. Maybe we go up 50% by the end of the year. Well, yeah, you made 10%, but you missed out on 40%. So it's not worth taking a risk like that. If you have cash reserves, then by all means, put it into iBonds, but don't take money from your investments and put it into iBonds. And I even would recommend not taking your monthly contributions to your investments. Don't take away from that. Keep doing your normal investments. Don't add into iBonds. Only use cash you have or extra cash for iBonds. It's a completely different strategy, and it's just a good way to get a return that you weren't going to already. So now that we've talked about who should get iBonds, how do you do it? Well, I'm going to show you step by step. So let's check it out. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the Treasury Direct website, which I have linked down in the description, and you're going to click on Buy Series I Savings Bonds. Then what you're going to do is you're going to find out you need to make an account. So you're going to go to make an account, and there's going to be 3 steps. You're going to follow those steps. You're going to click on Apply Now, and it's going to ask you if you are an entity or just an individual. Go ahead and select what you are. Click Submit, and then you're going to have to fill out all of your information. So your name, driver's license, the usual stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to fill that out on screen because I'm not going to give out that information, but then you're going to have to choose an image that's going to be shown when you actually go to log in. So kind of weird, but do what it asks, give it a caption, and then go ahead and click Submit. And then once you submit, you're going to have to enter in your password, and you're going to have to fill in the security questions. And I hate security questions because I can honestly never remember any of these. I mean, my first pet's name, I don't remember. Favorite teacher, definitely don't remember. You know, my favorite food, that changes on a daily basis, so, you know, it is what it is. Once you've done that, though, you're going to go back to the Treasury Direct website. You're going to go ahead and click on Login, type in the account number that they mailed you. They're also going to email you a special code. Once you're logged in, you're going to be on your account page. You're going to click on Buy, which is one of the links at the top, and then you're going to choose what you want to buy. For instance, I wanted to buy the Series I, which is what this whole video is about. Go ahead and click Submit. And then all you do is fill in how much you want to buy, click Submit, and it's as easy as that. There's not much to it. I wish it was done via an app or something a bit more colorful, but it is what it is. So at the end of the day, if you can find a way to fit iBonds into your portfolio somehow, at this time in 2022, or at least up until September, October, because you'll still get that 9.62% rate, it is a great option. Don't change your investing strategy. I'm not your financial advisor. It's up to you. But at the end of the day, let's make some money. If you haven't already, make sure you smash the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, let me know what you thought, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Take care.